Bernie Sanders is the first 2016 presidential candidate to actually speak out on behalf of the Sandra Bland incident. Now, before we get to Bernie Sanders, I'll give you a little bit of context if you don't know about the situation. So Sandra Bland is a 28-year-old African-American woman who was pulled over by a police officer in Texas for switching lanes without using a blinker. Now, after that, she later died in police custody. Now, here's some video footage.
Get out of the car now, or I'm going to remove you.
And I'm calling my
I'm going to yank you out of here.
Okay, you going to yank me out of my car?
Get out.
Okay.
Get out of the car!
And then you
I will light you up. Get
When
out!
she refuses, the officer attempts to remove her by force and appears to point a taser at her.
Over there.
Right, yeah.
Off camera, the situation escalates further.
You're about to break my wrist. Can you stop? You are about to break my wrist.
Stop moving. Stop now! Stop it!
Sandra Bland was found dead in her cell 3 days after her arrest.
So now here's Bernie's thoughts on that situation.
What you saw is an aggressive, overactive police officer who dragged this woman out of her car, assaulted her, sent her to jail for what crime? A minor traffic violation. That happens all over this country, and it especially happens to people of color. So we need a real hard look at the way police departments function in America, and we need to figure out a way that in terms of how we treat African Americans so that young people can walk down the street without having to worry about whether they're going to be harassed or shot in the back. We got a lot of work in front of us.
Bernie is 100% right as usual. I mean, it really is inconceivable that a white woman would be treated the same as this woman was treated. Now, you heard the officer in the video, right? I mean, he said, quote, "I will light you up." And then he then proceeded to pull her out of the car, and then you can hear her screaming. I mean, it really sounded like she was being tortured. And this is really just, it's really awful to watch. And it almost made me like queasy as I was watching it, because it's really difficult to see another human being suffering like that. Now, even if it's the case that she actually did hurt herself in jail, which is what they're contending, well, that's still a failure on the behalf of the Texas jail, because, I mean, if you're in police custody, you should be safer than ever. I mean, you should be protected. But the fact that she was either able to hurt herself or someone killed her in jail, it's absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, this is 2015 and we have things like this happening. It's really sickening. Now, even though this case is getting a lot of publicity, there are many other African-American women who have either died in police custody or were directly killed as a result of police brutality. Now, I'm going to name them off and I'll tell you why in a second. Natasha McKenna, she died after being tased. Tanisha Anderson, she died after being put in the prone position by a police officer. Janisha Fonville, she was shot and killed. And there's others. Yvette Smith, Miriam Carey, Shelley Frey, Darnisha Harris, Melissa Williams, Alicia Thomas, Chantel Davis, Rekia Boyd, Sharice Francis, Ayanna Stanley Jones, Tarika Wilson, Katherine Johnston, Alberta Spruill, Kendra James. Look, there's a link in the description box that really describes in more detail what happened to all of these women. But here's the deal. This is why I'm saying their names. We have to say their names. We have to shine a light on what's happening. It can't continue to go on, and these victims, they can't just get washed aside. We all have to know about it. The media needs to cover it, and we really need to highlight what happened to these human beings. Now look, this is a state of emergency. People can't be dying. This has to stop, and really the matter is very, very urgent. Something has to be done, and something has to be done fast. Now, Bernie Sanders is absolutely right to speak out on her behalf, and I can only hope that he's going to adopt the Black Lives Matter cause. And if the last few days is any indication, that Bernie Sanders is very much intending to do so. I mean, look, no other politicians, well, actually, no, I was going to say Hillary Clinton, but Hillary Clinton spoke about what she would do to actually ameliorate police brutality, but Bernie Sanders is the only one to actually name Sandra Bland, and that's really, really important, because, I mean, if you're stating what you're going to do, but it's more of just kind of a vague generalization, or you're kind of touching on it, but you don't really want to say her name, well, then that doesn't really show the Black Lives Matter movement that you're on their side. But what Bernie did was absolutely phenomenal. He stated her name. He did what they wanted. There's a hashtag going on right now that is hashtag say her name. I've tweeted about it if you follow me. And look, You've got to name all of them. You've got to shine a light on it. And Bernie Sanders is doing exactly what he rightfully needs to be done, and also what I think should be done by everyone else and every other politician.